Now that we've set up all of our databases, these bottom 4 sections, we can start managing our jobs in the top 6 sections. So we'll start by looking at jobs. So let's select jobs in the left column, and here you'll see a list of all of your active jobs. You'll also be able to sort by on hold jobs, completed, canceled, and all jobs. If we want to add a new job, we'll go over to the top right corner and we'll select Create Job. Here we'll add in job information, selecting what the contract type is, whether it's per ton, lump sum, composite, or byproduct. You can put the performance bond in, the job status, whether it's active, on hold, completed, or canceled, and then the harvest type, whether it's a first thinning, second thinning, select cut, clear cut, or mix. You can also check whether you want to hold payment on this job and whether the performance bond has been collected or not. You'll also be able to slide this bar from whether it's wet and less accessible or whether it's dry and very accessible or most accessible. So I'll move this to the appropriate spot in the continuum. Here you can add in your vendors. You can select from the vendors that we added before. This is your list of all of your vendors. And you can add in user permissions here if you wanted to add a user that you wanted to give this person access to the app. You can do that here as well as you can in vendors. And if you did that, then you could select what their permissions were here and set them up. If you wanted to add more details to this user, then you could go into vendors over here and add in the additional details that you needed to add for this person. For the security tag namespace, you'll need to add letters before your security tag number. So for example, GA-101. Here you'll enter your contract end date by selecting it on the map or on the calendar. And then if you need to add a contract extension, you can do that here as well. You can add a lump sum amount here by selecting your vendor and the amount of the lump sum. Add another one as well. So here, you can add any notes that you need to add about this job, and then you can add location information. So you'll either want to add the address location information or you'll want to add the GPS coordinates, like the latitude and longitude and map number, parcel number as the identifier. So select one of these. So either enter in the address information or add in the GPS coordinates. If you add in both of them, it'll put 2 points, 2 pins on your map, and it'll be confusing. You only need to add in one of those for your location information. So we'll select save, and that's going to send you back to this list of active jobs. I'm going to go into test job 1. So once you have the initial part of your job set up, you can go into the job and you can manage more within that job. So here we're going to go into test job 1. It's initially going to take me to an overview of this job so I can see all the job details that I just entered in. I can see the notes that I put in and any documents associated with this job. Be able to see my products, which I'll show you how to do products, set up products for this job in just a moment. And this will show me the map with my pen because of the parcel numbers and the GPS coordinates that we put in. So that's my overview. To add to the product section, we select products. This will give me a list of all of the products that I have for this job. And it'll give me an estimate of the percentage. This cruise estimate is an estimated percentage of what amount of this harvest will be each of these types of products. So as you see right now, my cruise estimate is over 100%. So I've got an arrow in here. So I need to decrease 15% somewhere in here. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to change this to 60%. And save. Okay, so now my cruise estimate adds up to 100%. If you wanted to add a product to this, so I'm actually I'll decrease this again. We'll go to, we'll say this is actually 50%. Now I'm missing 10% and I'm actually missing a product. So I'll go into add products. I'll select poles and I'll select the mill. This is from my list of mills that I entered in earlier. I'll enter in the mileage to the mill. And here we're going to estimate that cutout percentage. So this is where I'm estimating how much of this harvest is going to be this specific product, these poles large. And then we'll say the status is active. I would enter in my purchaser, whether it's a mill or a customer. If I select mill, I'm going to get all of my list of mills right here. If I select customer, I'll get my list of customers right here. So we're going to go with mills. We're going to say this one. We'll say $60 per ton. Now we'll divide up our vendors. So our distribution type will say, this is my trucking company. And we'll choose from my list of vendors. I'll choose trucker 1. We'll say $1 per mile per ton. And then we'll say we have a landowner. I'll choose a specific landowner here from my list of vendors, so that'll be landowner 1. We'll say $25 a ton. And then here we'll add in, we'll choose vendor for our consulting forester. And the consulting forester is getting paid from the same $25 a ton that the landowner is being paid. So we'll go over here to percent volume. We'll say 90% for the landowner and 10% for the consulting forester. So this is based on their agreement. The consulting forester is making 10% of what the landowner is making. So we use this percent volume over here to show that. If you use this percent volume, make sure that your percentages add up to 100%. So we'll click save here after we've entered in all of our vendors. It's going to take us to this list, and so it's going to add the poles here to our active products. And now our cruise estimate will equal 100%. So this is our estimate of how much of this harvest will be each of these different types of products. And this is our profit per product. Now we're going to go to expenses. So here you can create an expense or credit specific to a vendor. So when I come in here, I'll select whether it's an expense or a credit. I'll enter in the amount. I'll enter in the delivery date and then assign it to whichever vendor it needs to be assigned to. And then we'll create the expense. This will create your list of expenses. For loads, this is where you can create loads. But you can also create loads by going over here to loads in the left-hand column. And I'm going to show you more about that later, so we're going to skip creating loads right now, although I'll show you what it looks like. So if I was creating a load, this is where I would enter in all of this information. And finally, we have the cutout. So if we look at our all-time list, we can see how we're doing over time. We can look at our profit per product. We can look at what our estimated percentage for that product was, what the actual percentage of that product was, what the actual cutout in tons was, the percentage of tons, and then our profit for each product. And once all of those have been delivered, this will be populated. So these are all the sections for the job section. If you need to edit your job, you can select this button up here to change. So say this this job got put on hold, we can go over here and place this job on hold, and then come down to the bottom and save it. So now when I go to jobs, I have 4 active jobs, and then I put that one job on hold. So now that job is on hold. So that's how we set up and manage jobs within TRACT.